What's the grossest thing you do for like $500,000? Like, we will pay taxes on that.
You extrapolate that over the course of a year, you're talking $1.2 million a year.
I mean, I definitely do gay shit.
I have no interest in knowing that. That's different, but you're right.
No,
that
it's
shit
not different.
Me and Deke were laying in the back of Dylan's truck bed one time, and he floors it in reverse, loses control, and slams into a telephone pole with us like laying down in the bed.
Welcome back to the Alpha Hour podcast, where a couple of betas try to pretend like we're alpha. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Real good.
Good.
Quite well.
Yeah. We're doing the first time at my house. Now, I have nothing in my house. What do you guys think?
It's a blank canvas.
Yeah. I've got nothing on the walls. I got a picture of my brother. I have one picture upstairs in my bedroom, but it's like a Banksy replica. But that's it.
I like
some women come in and they're like, you have nothing in your house.
Well, you might look like a serial killer to a strange woman, but
absolutely.
Yeah, but that's okay. Like, I feel like I would have a very similar thing. It's just I don't live alone.
Yeah, you have a family. Yeah. I mean, if there was a woman in here, there would be
forget it.
way more.
What's the basement like? We haven't been down there yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'll show you guys on there. I have my studio for when I film my other YouTube videos, and then it's not really finished other than my studio. Other than that, it's just normal older house basement. So.
Yeah, if you had like rolls of plastic down there, it might be a little bit.
I might do that.
That would be kind of cool, actually.
Is your guys' basements full of just garbage? Because I was down in my basement the other day, and I thought I was like, you need to get rid of some of this stuff because there's just so much.
It's my garage. It's insane.
There's a lot.
Like it's so bad. So that keeps getting pushed off because I'm taking forever on my other projects. But when Meg moved in, like we ended up with 2 of everything. It's like I gave him a bed to get one thing out of there, but it's ridiculous. I got so much stuff. I can't park a car in there anymore. There's one little path to get through, so we just need to have a huge either bring in a dumpster or have Goodwill show up and just take everything.
Yeah, it's so easy to accumulate things. Now I understand why storage units exist, and they make so much money.
Oh, in our wedding, because we bought everything, because we did some stuff down in Mexico, and then the back home reception. It's like the dumb stuff, like boxes of candles, like chair covers, all that stuff. Like when you have like 100 of them, like it takes up so much space. So yeah, my garage is.
You got to figure out how to it's one of two. You got to buy less, or you got to throw away more.
Yeah,
and it's so bad. And when you get kids, it's just like
I
it's
can
another
imagine.
level of insanity.
With toys and
it's just another level. But like,
oh yeah, he's got the toy problem.
Yeah,
I mean, I think most parents do.
But the kids just that's another level. But it's true. Like you just get so cluttered. I feel like that's just our society too. Like everything that is made so poorly.
It is.
Like you look at things like, for instance, that large chest you were showing us from Italy from probably 1910.
Well, yeah, 1910 is when they brought it over from the boat. Well, my family brought it over from Italy. Oh, you didn't know that? I have it written down so I can remember it. So I don't know if you saw that on my board.
What a guess.
1910 is when they brought it over. It was built like towards late 1800s.
It's incredible though. I have a humidor from my grandfather and this kind of things that are from like the 60s. These things lasted
a very long time.
It doesn't occur anymore. Now everything's plastic. It's cheap. It's terrible. Even our architecture is like crap. You look at new houses, it's just bad.
Yeah.
It's all about efficiency and quick.
Yeah.
Like my house was built in
and
53
cheap.
And like I was talking about your wood floors up there. I would highly recommend ripping up that carpet and sanding them down. I bet you they're beautiful.
I might.
Just think of that church next door. It's been getting water damage for like 20 years.
Next to your guys' business?
Yeah. We paid like $10,000 for that thing, and it's still standing strong. It was built in like 1889 or something.
Well, even if you look at like wood, have you guys ever seen those side-by-sides, like new wood, like new 2x4s versus old 2x4s?
Well, they're smaller.
When you look at the grain and you're like, okay, you can tell this was how this was
2x4, the inches
it's fast.
changed?
Well, yeah, now it's all fast-grown pine. And, they used to use hard maple. They used to use, like, different types of wood. I know enough wood stuff to be dangerous, but that's the reality is that you're just dealing with something where it's like,
Molly, go lay down. Sorry, Molly's in the way.
No, she's fine. She ain't barking.
But
no, it's true. Everything's just crap here. We live in like a society that's complete. Like the aesthetics are rough, and it didn't used to be like that.
I know.
And you go look at a house like when I lived in Cleveland, I had a house that was built in like 1920, and you look at that house and you're like, it's so much prettier. It's just so much better. Like versus my house now that is, essentially a home that was built almost in a modular fashion. They bring it in, they put the walls, they do this, and it's like it just doesn't turn out the same. There's not as much craftsmanship, and a lot of those skills are lost to time too. You look at some of like the mortar work and the brick and this and that, like those skills are lost to time. So yeah.
It's true.
It's sad. It's a lot of that stuff sad.
I mean, no kids want to do that nowadays. You know, like those jobs are going to be. They're eventually. I mean, I'm sure they'll exist in some capacity. But even if you try to get a plumber nowadays, it's so difficult.
I know.
And for them to, kids to want to be a plumber, it's like I don't really want to, but we need the jobs. Yes,
right? And I do think that's flipping in society a little, because I think that it has to, because the demand is going to grow enough that like. If you're a plumber right now, you show up at a job, you can kind of name your price.
100%. Especially if it's an emergency. Like, hey, the shit in my toilet is flowing all over the place.
It's gonna be $8,000. And it might cost you $30 in material. You know what I mean? It may take you 2 days.
And you'll say sold. Because the next guy can't come for a week and a half,
Correct.
2 weeks. Okay, I'll pay whatever. Because...
There's a real argument to like for the entire educational system to like shift towards those sorts of things,
like trade schools and things like that.
Yeah, and because they're so needed.
Quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, Fully Loaded Tobacco Free Chew. Check out the description of this video or the show notes to get 20% off your next order.
I mean, you can't get anyone to do anything like that. So if you could find someone that was consistent and showed up on time, it's like, this person's a freaking hero. Even a contractor, a general contractor, you get anyone to do any job, it's like they never show up. They're very like off
even do
on.
A good job too.
It's random.
That blows my mind. If someone with a little bit of business sense went in to these trade jobs, they could transform.
I know.
Like one of these companies, whether it's electrician, plumbing, because there's a lot of old school guys. Not to knock on them, but they're just old school. They've been doing everything on paper, so they have. Yeah. But if they put some processes in place, digitize a lot of things, they could make a lot of money.
Yeah. No, if you could get good at that skill and then just go from there, like you can get really wealthy doing that. Now you got to work, but it's everything else in life.
Did you need a plumber recently?
I did down in my basement because my pump, it pumps like up, which I don't think is normal, like for my basement up, and like when my washer. There's, of course, fabric and stuff that goes through the washer, like cotton, as you wash it more and more, it went into my pump, and it overflowed, and it went all over my basement. I was like, So, yeah, I did recently. And I paid whatever. I don't even remember. I think I paid
whatever the
$800. Yeah, I think it was like $800 or something like that.
Just to get somebody to show up, I don't think it would cost $1,000.
That's the nature of it, though. That's the nature of all that stuff. It's become like that, where it's just nobody.
Did you watch to see if he actually had to bring in any materials, or was it just pure? He knew what the issue was.
He knew what the issue was. He had to buy a whole new unit too. So,
wait, a new pump?
Yeah, but it's like a small pump. It's not a huge pump like you're thinking. Because this is an older house. It's, I don't know.
Yeah, but still, it'd probably be a couple $100.
Yeah,
that was part of the pump to bring the water out. It sounds like you're bringing I have a well, so my pump is like 300 feet in the ground and it has to pump up. So my electric goes out, like I'm without water.
Oh,
you're in a different scenario. I'm assuming you have city water, but still, if you have a pump, it's a pump that needs to run.
Yeah, it was a couple $100. It wasn't cheap, but it's not like some big.
But if you got away with a bill of only $800, that's actually pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I don't know.
We got a quote.
That's the thing. They come and quote you a price, and you're like. Okay. Like when I got my carpet redone.
Yeah, I'll call the next guy. He'll be here in 3 weeks, so you got the job, bub.
Right. What is the actual price of this? Well, it depends on the home. And so even if you Google it, you can't get a proper price of what this should be. Just like you could a car if you went and bought a 2020 Honda Civic with 50,000 miles on it. You can get an idea.
So I was trying to hold back going into it, but I'm just going to do it now since we keep talking about the plumbing. So we got a quote to put in a new sink. For $4,800 was the first quote.
The business?
At our shop.
Okay.
So, I was like, this is absolutely insane because I knew we already bought the sink. It's not like we had to pay for anything like real raw materials. So, end up getting some just side guy, doesn't work for a company, but he does plumbing. So, he comes in and he's like, all right, I'll do it for $600 plus materials. So, I was like, all right, at least I have the labor defined now. So total materials was $145.
Okay. That they would have to buy.
That's what he'd bought it. So it's in already. The sink's working. Everything's flowing correctly. Like he did what he had to do with like cutting the copper pipes and raising up the faucet and putting in the new drain, creating an air gap, all that stuff for $145 in materials. And then he charged $600. When you extrapolate $600 of course a year, I was like, Jesus Christ! I mean, this guy is gonna makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year if he actually created that job like every single day. But the fact of the matter was, the quote I got from an actual company, like that's obviously how much work they got coming in, because it's like this was really $145 in materials, so they're gonna basically upcharge $4,600 for labor. Gosh. I mean, you extrapolate that over the course of the year, you're talking $1.2 million a year.
That guy has a secretary and a shop and trucks.
Well, I'm saying to your point, if you had business acumen, you're like, wow, if I like understand the need in this area and I hire 5 or 6 plumbers, I know each one of them. If I keep them busy each day, 1.1 million. That's $5.5 million in revenue. I send those guys out to work each day. I pay each of them $80,000. I'm clearing freaking $4.8 million off the top for each one of those. And I'm telling you, it's like a really good idea. I just don't know dick about plumbing.
Yeah. Neither do I. I don't know anything.
That's the big problem. If we knew anything about plumbing, we'd be plumbing magnates.
That's all I could think about for like 2 days. I'm like,
problem is we don't know anything about plumbing.
We built plumbing empires.
You could tell though that they had that much coming in, because I had to follow up with them twice just to get a quote. And then once they got the quote, it wasn't like salesy at all. It was like, here you go. Let us know if you have any questions.
Take it or leave it, asshole.
They could give a shit less, knowing that was a $4,600 off the top profit for them.
Day job.
What's that?
Day job. It was a day job.
Yeah. And and they wanted 9. If they're like, if we have to come in, because we were talking about like our staff's in here that we used to sink all day long, so like nights or weekends would be better. And they were like, if we have to do nights or weekends, it'll be another $900.
What?
Just upcharge of $900. I'm like, I end up getting the guy like under the table for $600 total. So it was like whatever. But I was like, this is such a racket.
We will pay taxes on that.
But nevertheless, it's just like electricians, plumbers. If you like had a couple buddies that knew what you were doing and could actually get off the ground doing the work yourselves before you go out and hire, you could be a millionaire in 5 years.
Yeah, a lot of money. You just need some young workhorses, because
that's the thing.
I mean, I would imagine that takes a toll on your body, those kinds of jobs,
sure,
as you get older.
Man, that's easier than like construction or something. Like,
yeah.
You're a plumber, like, and you could do it till you're 40, and then like, all right, then you get a young buck in there, and you're like, all right, man, like, or like
40's young, bro. You're gonna be 40 in a couple of years.
But if
come on,
I think that's old.
But if you've been doing it for that long, 40.
Yeah, you do 20 years of plumbing. I feel like you retired.
You're like always bent over.
You go to the desk job.
Yeah, and I'm like thinking of pornos.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a plumbing problem. Oh, sure, ma'am. I'll be right over. I'll be right over to fix that for you.
Yeah, no, it's usually the guy calling in my pornos, but everything else is the exact same.
That's great.
Yeah, you're right. We should really look into plumbing. If I knew anything about it.
Well, now it's just like if you know some plumbers. Because if you were to say, hey, I'm hiring plumbers, $150,000 a year, I'm assuming you're going to get some like applicants that know what they're doing.
What do you think the average salary of a plumber is? But I guess there's so many levels of plumber.
The average salary? I don't know. That's a great question.
Let's look it up. All right.
Okay.
Let's get a guess.
So I will get. Go ahead, Sean. You want to guess first?
Well, it depends on geographic region, just like anything else.
Let's just say Northeast Ohio, like Ohio.
Based on what I just say and the need, they can pay themselves as much as they want.
Did you already look it up? Because you couldn't get. You can't guess. Okay.
I'll say like. Well,
man.
Like someone working 40 hours a week.
Yeah, for the man, though. If you are doing it yourself.
I'm saying for the man.
Yeah, for the man.
God, they're getting away with murder. They're probably paying them like $70,000.
I know
I was gonna go actually $100,000.
Yeah, no, I mean this thing is
you gotta take it with a grain of salt.
Accurate thing ever, but like the high end seems like 85.
And just think,
and like the range is like 45
job,
to 85.
That isolated job that one company did not give a shit if I was actually going to take the quote and run with it, they would have made $4,600 on that job.
But that's the thing. That's what's crazy is
one day work.
If you could teach everyone to not go work for someone else, but it's that safety aspect.
And not everybody wants to do that. I think that's a misconception a lot of entrepreneurs have. Is it's like, if everybody was an entrepreneur, you could make so much money. But not everybody.
No, because there's the
wants
illusion
to
of
be
safety.
One. Yeah.
Because no, I get it.
And that is kind. I mean, there is safety, but I understand what you're saying. There isn't.
Well,
safety
you don't have to worry about So all right, that cat makes, let's just say, he makes $80,000. This average plumber. He also has health insurance. He probably has some benefits there, and his family's taken care of, and blah blah blah. But man, you could buy a lot of health insurance if you made $800,000 a year plumbing. 100%. You know what I mean?
But it's not everybody's cut out for entrepreneurship. There.
No,
they just aren't.
No, but I feel like the more people that do it, it's better for society, because the fewer people that do it, then there's just fewer people that make the money. Then you have one guy controlling 50 plumbers. And really, do we want one guy having all that money, or would we like, maybe 25 of them to go do their own thing, and maybe those guys get like in the middle class? That is better for society. The more small business there is and the less big business there is, I think it overall is a benefit to society, because then you have more people with more independence, not relying on the government for crap, kind of doing their own thing, and I think that is good. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I get it. Like, there is that safety aspect that's appealing. Mm-hmm. Like, if you can just go work a job, and the other thing is that it's not like when you go home, you go home.
Yeah.
You're done.
Because as business owners,
if you fuck up the job and accidentally break a pipe.
Yeah, hey, call my boss.
Yeah, it's like, all right, peace.
Yeah.
So that's why, I would want to keep it like tight knit. If I was actually a plumber and was like, fuck, I saw this
After this conversation, we're starting to fucking plumbing this.
I would want like 5 guys.
You guys know about plumbing? No, not a goddamn thing. I just know you guys can charge a lot of money.
Let's just go buy a plumbing place. I don't know, plumbing company.
Keep it nice and intimate.
Buy them and be like, so what do we do? They'll be like, what do we do, guys? We'll say, we don't know. Like we're talking.
I don't know shit about plumbing. That's on you guys.
We're talking a lot of. We're like,
I'm gonna schedule the job. Yeah. You're gonna tell me how much you can charge.
So, did you guys do this to code? What?
The fuck's a code? The only code I got here is on the computer, and that's what's telling me I'm making money from your fucking ass being out there plumbing. Now get going, boy.
Yeah, it's true that you develop certain understandings with that stuff, because whenever they get into the weeds and stuff, all right, well, how much water do you run, and blah blah blah, oh, well, you're gonna need PVC this and flex this and air gaps and this and that, and I'm like, I don't fucking know.
My eyes glaze over. No, I have no interest in knowing that. But again, that's why those people are so necessary. It's like a physician.
Yeah,
it's no different.
I just wish we would have said fuck school and all became plumbers.
Yeah,
just be dominating right now.
Yeah,
we got really made fun of growing up. Like, oh, you're gonna be a plumber,
so
sweet.
We'll
be
driving
Bentleys.
I would kill for my kids to be plumbers. I'll run their business.
Yeah, so you be a plumber, I'll run your business, or I'll show you how to do it.
You need to fulfill Daddy's lifelong dream of running a plumbing company. Never forget 2022 when we had a long chat about me being a big time plumbing magnate.
Oh gosh, Sean, do you remember when we lived in that house in Akron when we were in college?
Oh, believe me.
Yeah, that guy. He was a handyman.
It's Ken's handyman.
Oh yeah.
Cook's cousin. Yeah, no, he was legit. He can literally do anything. And you know what?
No? Oh, he still works for him.
No, so he was one of those makeshift, whatever the job is, I'll figure it out. I'll get it done, whether or not it's electric or. In that scenario,
yeah, he was a handyman. For those of you, he was a handyman who would he's a
nurse now.
He's a nurse.
While he was doing all that, he didn't start going to college or nursing school until he was late 20s, early 30s, and then he became a nurse afterwards, and now he's a nurse. So now he wears scrubs every day and goes in.
Wow. Yeah, so basically, me and Sean lived in a house in college with a bunch of our friends. And it goes with the plumber thing. And this guy was...
I remember the situation.
This guy was a handyman for our landlord, who now these two work with. And this guy would come in. Well, we had a toilet, a pipe burst in the basement, I guess. And essentially what was clogging...
Two separate issues. One was a couple tampons backed up the toilet. And he literally reached in.
But
and
yeah,
got
this
the tampons
poor
out.
plumber, this poor handyman, like he was like the plumber on that day. He was sticking his hand in the toilet and pulling out just all kinds of stuff that people were throwing down the toilet on nights we were having massive parties.
Yeah.
And it was, oh my gosh. So that's
So
the kind of thing you
gross.
do have to deal with too when you're a plumber or these other jobs.
Yeah, no, that's why I want to be the magnate. I don't want to actually do the plumbing.
We don't want to do it. We just want to talk shit about it. About the people that are doing it right now. That's what we want to do.
I'm sure there's some gross scenarios, but fuck it. What's the grossest thing you do for like $500,000? Like, I'd do some weird shit.
I mean, I definitely do gay shit for.
I do gay shit.
I'm straight, but I would definitely do gay stuff for $500,000.
I'm thinking like gross
right?
shit, like especially if nobody really knows, like because the people you're showing up to like fix their shit are like, and they don't even you don't know them.
Mm.
Like, would you eat a small piece of shit for $500,000?
I mean, probably. It's
Yeah, me too.
$500,000.
Yeah, I feel like
See, it's not like real work. You're just now saying like.
Yeah, just an outrageous.
I'm trying to get.
I'm like saying like for $500,000 though, I would probably do any like jobs that were productive. Like we would say like.
Would you
like,
be a bottom on a gay
be
porn
a
site?
trash man? Or are you gonna grow up to be like a plumber?
I'd be a fucking trash man in 2 seconds. I think that job sounds kind of slick.
Exactly. So I'm trying to think of a job that.
Oh, there's no job on earth I wouldn't do for $500,000.
Except like.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you know what? Sales jobs. I'm really annoyed by talking to like.
See, but if you're
being a
guaranteed the
whore.
money, then you wouldn't have to be a whore.
Yeah,
Like you just go on
Oh,
bullshit.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'd just be like, you want to buy it? No, whatever.
The only ones that I would like, you'd probably get immune to it, but like skyscraper type buildings, window washing.
Yeah,
That'd be
that's true. The height thing does mess with me.
My breath's going away. Just
I didn't know
thinking
if I
about
could do it, actually, now that I think about it.
You could do it.
I don't know.
I think you might get used to
I
it.
put on one of those VR glasses one time and...
That's different, but you're right.
No,
That
it's
shit
not
fucks you
different
up.
because it makes you feel like you're in the moment. You're not in the moment.
Yeah, I've looked down and been like, whoa.
Yeah. Like we were I was over at our one buddy's at Mike's house and we put those on. It was one where you start to walk towards a ledge. Okay, so you guys have done that. And I physically felt like I can't do this. So even if you paid me $500,000, I don't know if I could do it.
Do you think that
The
I would
have you
try,
noticed
but-
that getting worse the older you get?
Yeah,
What, scared of heights?
Yeah.
yeah,
Like-
absolutely.
Yeah, mine's like
I don't know.
dramatically worse. I used to not think about it. I just think it's the knowledge of knowing like when you're young, you like don't even know. You're like, oh, it's high.
You're so reckless.
You're like, what the fuck ever? Like if I fall, I'll just like bounce off the ground.
I mean, I've always been scared of heights, though, so maybe I'm a little bit
Okay.
different. So
but you've gotten it
Oh,
like because
I'm
it's
more, like,
significant for me.
Fragile. I used to like not care about anything.
I think
Like,
it's
now,
wisdom though.
Every time I get on a bike, like I don't ride bikes that often. Like when we're kids, like obviously you're building ramps, that bullshit ramps that fall apart every time you hit it and whatnot. Fall off your bike, whatever. Like even just driving on main roads and stuff.
okay, so
Like
you
we
get
used to
this-
do that all the time, and
I
it's
know.
like going on, like not even paying attention to where cars are going. We're swerving, we're fucking with each other, trying to kick each other off. Like now, if I'm on a main road riding a bike, it's like I'm freaked the fuck out. Like
Oh, I
'cause
wouldn't
I'm more
even
worried
do
about
that.
other people now.
doing dumb stuff.
It's just like driving.
Yeah.
Like I'm more worried. I'm
That's
in
wisdom.
control.
But that's wisdom. Now you're aware of what can happen because you've just seen so much that not so much, but you've seen more than you did when you were 15, and now you're just wise to the fact that like shit does go wrong. But when you're 15, you're like, well, none of this is gonna hurt me. Like who the f- cares?
It'll
You're
be interesting because I haven't been to a
we did so
amusement
many.
park.
We ran Deke's car into a tree on purpose.
Yeah.
But we did so many dumb things.
Yeah, me and Deke were laying in the back of Dylan's truck bed one time, and he floors it in reverse and like loses control and slams into a telephone pole with us like laying down the bed. And like we were like Jello because we're just like, oh, we're giggling. Who was ever in the front like whacked their head on the dashboard, and like his entire bumper was caved in, and we're just like we get up like laughing, looking through his like little like what's happening?
Hey, you hit a telephone pole, buddy.
Like nowadays would be like detrimental. Like goddamn car insurance, whatever. You just didn't worry about shit when you were a kid.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of being a kid too. That's part of the fun.
Exactly.
Like part of the appeal is you keep your innocence and you also like don't really know what can go wrong. And so that's what makes it fun. Then you get older, then you're like you start to realize what happens in the world and you're like
I think as you get older, you just become so much more risk adverse, which sometimes is good. Like in those cases, like you'll live longer most likely. But then like when it comes to like investing money or like taking risks, like with because like especially you got a wife and 3 kids now. But that's the lame part about getting older. It's like we kept that same mentality forever, like 20 to 22. There'd be a lot more accomplished, I feel like.
Or you'd be broke or dead.
Yeah,
or dead.
Right. It could go bad. Right.
Yeah, there's both extremes possibly.
It could go bad also. But yeah, no, there'd probably be a lot of success.
More people would die, but more people would innovate and like, create cool stuff.
Yeah, because you wouldn't worry about the rules and shit.
Yeah, like what we were talking about. You're safe, like having health insurance.
Yeah, there's that.
Whatever this and
well, that was also beat into us. That's a thing that you're like beat into by school and your parents and all that stuff. That is beat into you. I never forget like when I went from my job where I had all that stuff to a job, where I didn't, and like asking like my dad and for advice, and he was like, don't leave that job because like that was what they knew, like that, and it was beaten to them. And then also I remember throughout our high school and college, like gotta get a good job and go to school and go to college and it's like, except you don't, except it's not true.
But I think the internet has grown a lot more since we were like that young, so I don't.
It's expanded the opportunity.
Yeah, so I think it. I don't want to trash on that.
It's not
thought
trashing
process back then.
I don't think it's wrong.
It did kind of make sense, but
no, I don't think it's wrong, but I don't think it's right. I just think it's one of those things where yes, that argument can be made, but like I can just remember like anytime you talk to anyone, well, how are you get health insurance?
Yeah.
Well, what are you gonna do if this like? I don't know. I'm gonna buy it.
I'm gonna buy it. Yeah.
Like the $5,000 that it cost me.
Like it's expensive if you buy it on your own. Don't get me wrong, but
it was. I got a family of 5. It's not cheap. It was expensive. Also like, I don't know. Like, I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah. It was expensive when he worked for corporate America. They were just covering the cost, right? It's.
Yes. Yeah. It's just one of those things. It's like.
For an individual though, it's like $5,000. So it's funny when you think about it. It's like, oh yeah, I got this job for whatever, like $30,000, or like hearing adults talk about their kid, like got a job, and I mean, he's making like $35,000, but he's got benefits, and it's like you realize it's just like $5,000.
Yeah, no, he's making $40,000.
Yeah, like it's like I'd rather make 100 and just have to carve out 5,000. So it's like,
is that what you guys pay? $5,000 a year is what it comes out to? Well, you have a family. You have a family.
Mine's
but like yours,
like
5. I pay because I'm on a mini retirement, so I got the lowest level. Paying like $250 or something. Like that.
And you can do that.
Yeah, very minimum. Because it's just me.
If I was mean by $250,
$250 a month.
Oh,
for healthcare. But it's the
you're probably doing
like the government thing. I went to like the government website.
That's $3,000 a year.
But you're in your 30s. It's super reasonable. Like if you were 58, I'd be like, hey man, that might not be the most responsible decision. But you're not. So why not?
Yeah.
Like,
but it can get expensive as you get older.
Oh hell yeah! But you also don't want to be without insurance because
math is hard.
Something went wrong.
Yeah, like 400 times 12 is 4,800. That's about what.
No, it's at least 10,000.
That's funny. Sometimes like basic math does get hard. It's like, what the hell's happened to my brain?
Oh, I know. That's a thing that we've just taken for granted with calculators.
And it was funny. My sister was talking about something the other day, like stats, and she picked like like whatever percentage you're talking about. If you're talking about out of 100, like what's left is what. And she was trying to bring up something, I don't know, sports related or what. And she's like, yeah, it was like it's more like a 68, and then like she could not figure out the other 32%.
Ouch!
Oh no!
I started dying. I was like, and it was like, ah,
well, that's bad. That's 100. You know what though? I'm telling you, the younger the kid is versus us, and probably we're way worse than our parents were. Like if it's there and you don't have to think about it, if you have a calculator accessible at all times, you just won't do it. Your brain's like, don't need it.
Yeah, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Until you can just like look at something and speak to it, like an Alexa, do it for me. But it still takes time to bust out a calculator, like basic math like that. I would much rather just do it in my head.
Well, you'd like to just know that.
A good default, if you don't know, is just say, hey, I don't do public math. So
there you go.
Just like guesstimate. I don't do public math. And that'll be a rule in this podcast is we don't do public math. We're just going to guess. We know that it might be right, might be wrong.
Yeah.
But we don't do public math.
Yeah, we're not going to try and guess.
Thanks for checking out this podcast. Please make sure to hit that thumbs up button before you go. If you want to watch us continue the conversation, then click on this video to your left next.